We've been using the language of journey to describe how people come to faith. And that's absolutely right. All the evidence shows that coming to faith for most people is gradual and often messy. Growing in faith is a journey too. Discipleship is definitely not instant. But here's the thing. Our language of a gradual journey can overlook the importance of key moments and milestones. Those moments when you know something's happened, something's changed.
And the milestones we're talking about here are moments when people have an opportunity to take a step of faith commitment for the first time. And also moments when they can take steps of deepening faith or applying their faith in a new way.
Ironically, the best book on this whole area isn't a Christian book at all. It's a book for the business and hospitality sector. It's called The Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath. They're two brothers best known for their book on so-called sticky communication that sticks in the mind. In the book, they underline the value of moments. Life unfolds gradually, but we actually measure our lives in moments. It's the special moments we remember, more than the slow turning of the days and seasons.
What we remember is the graduation day, the proposal, the day your baby starts walking, the surprise birthday party. In their book, the Heath brothers say this: defining moments shape our lives, but we don't have to wait for them to happen. We can be the authors of them. In other words, it's good to build in moments when people have a chance to take a step of faith commitment, and moments when people can take steps of deepening faith or applying their faith in a new way.
I've got a confession to make. In church, I don't do shouty. I don't do grand gestures and altar calls. I'm more low-key than that. But one Sunday I was invited to be a guest preacher at another church. And before the service, somebody mentioned there were going to be lots of fringe people and visitors there. Could I invite people to come to faith during my sermon? Well, I shuffled nervously because I hate embarrassing people. But I did it. During the sermon, I said if anybody had been touched by the message and wanted to take a step of faith, they could raise a hand. At which point, 6 people raised a hand. Turns out they were looking for faith, but nobody'd ever challenged them to take a step of faith.
Sometimes we imagine people will be more embarrassed than they actually are. We are often nervous of giving offence. The reality is that lots of people are actively looking for faith, or at least looking for something that gives them and their lives meaning and purpose. And that ought to be the heart of what we offer, day in, day out. We help people find faith, go deeper in their faith, and apply their faith in new ways.
Lots of people come to church expecting to be challenged. But all too often, the reason people don't come to faith is that we don't invite them to come to faith. A local church can be like a would-be fiancé who talks a lot about marriage but never actually pops the question. Here's what I've come to be convinced of. Every single church service should have a point at which people are invited to take a step of faith for the first time, to go deeper in faith, or apply their faith in a new way.
And I think that's right. You never know who's in the congregation and what God might be stirring up in their life. A woman from Eastern Europe questioning the atheism she was brought up with. A middle-aged man in despair because of gambling debts. A student looking for a radical way to live that prioritizes justice and relationships. A family wanting a sense of community in a new area. We need to give them an opportunity for steps of faith, or steps of deepening faith or applying it in new ways.
Mike's saying every service should build in milestones, what the Heath brothers call defining moments. But of course how we do that will vary from one church to another, and where it happens will vary too.
Holy Trinity Platt is in the heart of Manchester Studentville, and it has big ministry among students. Of course, student life is a time lots of people make major life decisions.
So the kind of milestones we have at Platt are often involve our services, whether that's services on a Sunday or perhaps guest services of different kinds for different people like students perhaps, or youth events that we might put on. And normally what it involves is perhaps somebody at the end of a talk or perhaps the end of the service inviting people to pray, perhaps to echo a prayer themselves that is prayed from the front, a prayer of commitment to the Lord Jesus. And then there might be those who feel that they couldn't do that quite yet, but we might say, well, you could fill in a card that we've got for you where you can come and talk to somebody about the Christian faith, or perhaps join a group of those who are interested in exploring the Christian faith, and perhaps with a view to progressing to a commitment in the Lord at a later point.
Different churches will build in milestones in different ways. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Partly it'll depend on their tradition. Milestones in a Catholic setting might look different from milestones in a more evangelical setting, and they may not be in Sunday services.
I guess I'm a classic liberal Catholic, and I do recognise that in the Catholic tradition we can sometimes be weak at providing those milestones where people can make commitments. What we're trying to do here in Salford is to take advantage of the milestones of the church year. So this year we did an amazing thing on Ash Wednesday. We did Ashing to Go on the local precinct, providing people with an opportunity to stop and to be prayed with and to have the imposition of ashes. It was a very important challenge. We make a great deal of Holy Week and Easter, especially the Easter Vigil. Once you've experienced a full-bodied, full-blooded Easter Vigil, you'll never want to miss it again. We're very privileged here in Salford to be the home of quite a large Iranian asylum-seeking and refugee community. And over the last few years we've had a large number of people who've converted, and we've used the Easter Vigil as an opportunity to baptise and confirm them. That service, of course, includes reaffirmation of baptismal vows. So that is a real milestone and an important way of challenging people to reaffirm their commitment.
In our context here at Holy Trinity Shore, we have lots of people who come to church primarily because they want to get into one of the local church schools. So for us, that creates a real opportunity to engage with them, to help them come to faith in Jesus, so that coming to church is about more than getting into school. And that's really done in two main ways for us, partly through worship and prayer, through enabling people to actively participate in the liturgy of the church, so that their experience of God is more than head knowledge, but it's about a personal relationship and encounter. And then also through relationship, so about getting to know people, journeying with people through the highs and lows of life, listening to their stories and gently challenging and questioning and inviting people to explore faith further. The milestones that it brings with it may not be big and public that everybody can see, but they're still there going on, sometimes behind the scenes, as we encourage people into faith.
So what our milestones look like will be different in different settings, and that's okay, whether it's in public events, in small groups or private conversations. But the thing is, we need to build in those milestones, symbolic moments where we challenge people to take a next step. That next step for somebody might be coming to faith for the first time. It might be a deliberate step to go deeper in faith, or it might be challenging people to apply their faith in a new way.
It's good to build those moments of challenge into our preaching too. There's a great quotation from the American church leader Andy Stanley. He says this: "When you commit to preach for life change, your preparation is not complete until you have answered two very important questions. So what and now what?" It's easy to forget the application side of preaching. What do we want members of our congregation to do with the message? What's the challenge? And that means building in milestones, chances for people to take the next step, coming to faith, going deeper in faith, applying faith in a new way.
My first post as a vicar was in a tiny inner city church in the Catholic tradition. One year we did a traditional Ash Wednesday ashing ceremony. A young woman in her 20s was there who I hadn't seen before. She'd wandered in because she saw the lights on. I invited the congregation to see the moment of the ashing as a moment for taking an intentional step of faith. They could view it as a symbolic moment, a sacramental moment, an outward symbol representing an inner spiritual reality. The young woman later told me that that was the moment she came to faith. If I hadn't said anything, it might never have happened.